It's 2023, and a brand new year means a brand new period of new year, new me talk, and while I certainly very much appreciate self-growth, it's still the wintertime where the days are short and the periods of depression can be long. But do you know what helps with depression in both meanings of the way you could read that phrase? Netflix, and specifically what we're talking about today in Netflix original cooking shows. The very first thing I can remember wanting to be when I grew up is a game show host, and let's just say my affinity for game shows has remained throughout my adult life.
Well, I tell you honestly, we've been on the air, I think, a year and a half. It's the first time on those introductions I've ever gotten aroused.
In fact, you may see some more game show related content later this month if you subscribe and do all the things to all the buttons. Go on, do it. Anyway, there's a special place for cooking-related game shows as they speak to another one of my loves, delicious food. And while obviously the Food Network is the place to go for classics like Chopped and my personal favorite Cutthroat Kitchen, Netflix has put out some bangers and mash in that department as well, and so today I bring to you my 10 favorite Netflix cooking game shows. These rankings come based on a few criteria: the overall concept of the show and any fun twists that they may bring, the hosts/judges, and obviously the quality of the food porn produced from the contestants. Before we get into the rankings, I need to call out a show that is not a game show per se, so I didn't make this list, but if it had, it would have easily contested for the number one spot, and that is Fresh, Fried, and Crispy. The concept of this show, finding and testing out some of the most well-known spots in large cities across America and declaring where has the best food, has certainly been done before numerous times, but the host of this show, Dame Drops, is who makes it endlessly entertaining. He even got nominated for an Emmy for this. That's how magnetic of a personality this guy has.
But this chicken.
Mommy, chicken dry?
It's dry, we don't want it.
So you talking juicy, juicy?
It's got to be juicy.
Is this what you do?
I mean, this is what we do.
Boom, boom all over the place, boom, boom in my face. Me and the burger are having a moment.
All right, enjoy your burger.
I had to kiss it. Just give me a moment. I have moments with my food.
I love you, man.
Is it seasoned up right, though?
Oh, come on, man. It's like grandma's seasoning, man.
Don't say grandma.
It's perfect.
And people who frequent shows like this will know what I'm talking about when I say that this dude just knows how to eat food and takes some of the most delicious looking bites I can ever recall seeing. I can't say if it had been anyone but him that this show would have landed in the same way for me, but watching a super likable person indulge in amazing looking fried food and have reactions that truly make me laugh out loud, I would watch 10 seasons of this show. I hope they keep making them, and if you haven't checked this one out, you definitely need to do so if you're a fan of this type of food show. Alright, kicking off this list is going to be Easy Bake Battle. This is a weekly elimination show where the winner of the episode moves on to face new competitors in the next episode, and it centers its theme around a giant version of the classic Easy Bake Oven toy. The contestants that make it to the finals are allowed to use only it as a heating element for their dish, and for further fun, it's only on for a set period of time, adding another element of strategy. It's hosted by Anthony of Queer Eye for extra points, and he brings that same energy over to this show, and it typically makes for some great conversations with the guest judge he has accompany him each episode. The challenges are a lot of fun in terms of curveballs, and this is also unique in the fact that it's geared towards sort of honoring home chefs, where they emphasize speed, efficiency, and quick cook hacks in the kitchen. Things that the home chef who needs to put on a meal in 30 minutes would need and appreciate. This is the one I found myself really disagreeing with a lot of the judges' decisions though, which doesn't typically happen often, so take that for what you will. I will also say that while most of the hacks that are taught here are really nifty and useful, since they put so much priority on that, it does get to a point where a few of them are a bit, I don't know. Overall though, this show is great for exactly what it is, a nice quick bite. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Cooked with Cannabis, and I have to be just a bit careful with this one due to YouTube's policies on these types of things.
What are you guys doing?
We want to buy some weed so that we can put it in our beer and smoke it.
But this show bases its theme obviously around the use of the sticky icky in all of the recipes. As someone who partakes often, I'm always a bit trepidatious when it comes to anything that chooses to center its basis around that, because there's a line between it working and it coming off very try-hard that's tough to walk.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
And while this show might have a few moments of teetering, it does a fairly good job of threading that needle. The judges brought in are a nice group of personalities, and for the most part, watching them all get baked and conversate is really funny, especially if you are also Our hosts, rapper Khalees, the one who has the milkshake that brings all the boys to the yard, and chef slash ganja sewer slash easily coolest name on this list, Leather Stores, they have a nice chemistry too. I really like seeing all the incorporation types as well, which get very creative and beyond the use of traditional canna butter. There's some seriously good food put out on this show as well that I won't make a cliche munchies pun about, and you can't make me. Another show with one season and an uncertain future, but the one we have is a good bit of fun, and I would highly recommend it. Damn it, I couldn't help myself. Unless, of course, you are against the kind of any kind, in which case, this is not your kind of show.
In one word, would I use dope? Nope.
Next is going to be Best Leftovers Ever. This show's concept is all about the use of adding a previous day's former goodness to try to fashion it into a brand new dish, and completely unrelated to the things I said in the previous entry, as someone who has spent many nights hazily assembling crazy creations from whatever is left in the kitchen, this show most definitely speaks to that side of me.
I don't know what you are, but I will fucking eat you too.
Jackie Tone is a quirky and fun enough host given her acting experience on Glow, but this has what might be my personal favorite judging combo of David So and Rosemary Schrager. The dynamic of these two's personalities just makes you feel good to watch, and you can tell that they're just both having a blast. The only thing I think that keeps this one a bit lower is that even though a lot of the shows in this genre are guilty of this, this is the one that sort of feels most like a wash, rinse, repeat cooking show with different guests each episode and with one extra element added to it to call it different. It is a fun element that makes for a fun show, but it's just not enough when it stacks up to some of the others above it, which is why it's going to land at number 8. Number 7 is going to be Baking Impossible. This is a show that combines food and science in a really neat way, as the contestants on this show are actually teams consisting of one baker and one engineer. The challenges all center around baking large, complex machines with movable parts that usually must also complete some sort of task as well as taste delicious. For instance, a boat that must also sail some sort of distance on water, and my personal favorite, a freaking mini golf course. It's a really cool concept, and it makes for some interesting final presentations of the food as well as discussions on engineering if you're into that. The challenges are very difficult, and that makes for some interesting dynamics on the team as well, as each person is sort of at the mercy of their partner doing their job. The host, Justin Willman, is a magician and an illusionist, so that plays well with intros and the in-between segments, and the judges are a really interesting group, including an astrophysicist and an aerospace engineer, so there's a unique perspective that a show centered on food doesn't normally give you. The only thing that holds this back is it is obviously heavier on the engineering at times, which if you're there for a food show can be good for a little while only, and you might get blinded by the science, if you will.
She blinded me with science!
So this doesn't have the same binge watching ability in my opinion that a food show should have, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a watch-worthy show, and I would certainly recommend it. Number 6 is going to be School of Chocolate. This show is centered around Swiss/French chocolatier Amaury Guichon and his teachings of amazing techniques in the realm of creating these crazy elaborate chocolate structures and then challenging these 8 pastry chefs to do the same. What I really like about this show in particular is the element of nobody gets eliminated, and it's treated more like its name, a school, since even though there is a monetary prize for the winner of a cool 50 grand, the real prize is the education gathered from this prodigy who is already one of, if not the best in his field, and the fact that everyone gets that for the full time is really neat to see. Don't get me wrong, I don't want every show to be like this because the elimination element is fun, but in this context it really works, and you get to watch these contestants really up their game and come into their own as chocolatiers. The only thing that sort of works against this show is that I can't foresee myself making or even having the skill to make any of the things that they do, and so it becomes a bit of a limiting experience because for me personally, I like things that I can at least try to attempt as well in the kitchen at home, but that's just me. If that's not something that bothers you, this might be even higher because in terms of skill level, this is probably the most challenging and it is an all-around interesting watch. Number 5 is going to be Zumbo's Just Desserts, which is the brainchild of Australian pâtissier Adriano Zumbo, and in a lot of ways it is just a standard baking elimination show, but what separates this one is sort of what gives the same appeal of School of Chocolate, in that you have arguably the best in his field at what he does, creating these incredible dessert concoctions and then asking the contestants to create the same thing, and with all these folks really trying to impress Zumbo, it leads to some fantastic television. The prize in this one is one of the biggest of the bunch as well at $100,000, with the winner also getting to have one of their own original creations in Zumbo's store, so the stakes feel appropriately high. This also has what might be the coolest set design of any of the cooking shows out there, as they did their best to create a Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory vibe, which really works to create a sense of magic and wonder.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Unfortunately, even though Netflix revived it for a second season back in 2019 from its original network, it doesn't appear we're going to be getting any more of this show, which is a bit of a shame.
So you get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
But Zumbo is still a judge on Sugar Rush, which, spoiler alert, won't feature on this list, but is a good show in its own right. So, I don't know, I guess never say never. However, if this is all we get, it's a nice 2 seasons of TV, and it's deserved of its place in the top 5. Number 4 is going to be my kid's favorite of the bunch, and that is Nailed It. This puts a funny spin on the traditional cooking show in that rather than the contestants being accomplished in the kitchen themselves, these are notably not so great at baking. Then they're asked to try and replicate these fairly complex creations to hilarious results.
That looks like some strange fish from the bottom of the deep, deep ocean.
This wild cake is the result of 2 solid hours of blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, that sounds about as appetizing as a big plate of dirt or something.
The main host, Nicole Byer, is really funny and has infectious energy, and the more I learn about her as a person, the funnier of a person I find her to be. If you know, you know, and if you don't, go Google her tattoos when you're done with this. But this show also brought to the forefront the personality of legendary French chocolatier Jacques Torres, and we are all better for it. I mean, you literally can't not smile when this man starts throwing out advice.
So you can spray vodka when you want to clean something, or so come, I'm going to show you how that works.
Okay, I knew that you could spray a pan, but I didn't know you could spray your hands.
You can spray cooking spray anywhere you want.
Jacques, what are you saying? What are you saying?
Everything about this just puts a fun, lighthearted spin on a normally very stressful show type and environment, and it makes for a very entertaining watch. And I think there's some great money also to be made if we take it one step further and go into a full-fledged cooking show about celebrities eating regular people's disgusting recipes that no one likes.
If I take one bite of shit, will you bring me a steak?
I'll think about it.
Netflix, get at me. Let's make some magic. Taking the bronze medal is going to be Is It Cake? This show highlights the incredible world of creating real-life looking cakes and challenging the contestants to fool the judges when their creations are placed next to the actual object that they're replicating. The concept of this show is brilliant, and the cakes that come out of this are astonishingly good. In fact, part of the fun is your own participation you get to do as an audience member, trying to judge for yourself what is cake and what isn't. Seeing how these awesome things are put together is really interesting, and the final challenge is a fun little twist as well, where the winner of the week's challenge can double their money if they themselves can spot the difference between 2 cakes. The judges circulate every episode, and they're usually a nice mix, and the contestants on the show are all pretty memorable as well, but it's the host, SNL alum Mikey Day, that is as unique as this show, because he is about as polarizing as it gets. Some of his deadpan stuff I genuinely laughed at. I don't know if it was the context or just the unexpectedness of it, but some of it I really did enjoy. Others, not so much. And it doesn't help that he sort of always is putting off this serial killer vibe.
Man, I should have watched baking shows before I did this.
My 3 little kitties. Now the moment of truth. And my favorite question. Is it cake?
Every time he picks up the knife to test to see if the thing he's cutting is cake is actually tension-filled though, and I will maintain a revolving stage makes everything better. I also have some major nostalgia going on for this show, not gonna lie, as it is what my family and I watched during the downtime on our trip last year to Colorado, so I look back on it with those nice fond memories attached as well. But even without that, I would still rank this very high on its own merits alone, because it is a very clever show and is one of the few that already has more episodes ordered, so we can look forward to more. Now for the top 2, and I really went back and forth debating which one I liked better overall. but what I ended up settling on in the runner-up spot is going to be the Great American Barbecue Showdown. So this one is centered obviously around barbecue, and so comes with it the use of outdoor tools of the trade, the grill, and more importantly, the smoker. Seeing these elements incorporated in is really nice, and the time given for the weekly challenges is obviously much longer than normal, but still shorter than what some of the traditional low and slow barbecue dishes need to comfortably complete and bring up to temperature. So watching this play out and the absolutely hunger-pang-inducing dishes that get presented is what will keep you coming back and also keep you heading to the smoker to try and replicate them. Also, as a weekly elimination show, you get to become invested in the personalities of these contestants, of which there are some wonderful ones. Another big difference about this show is that there's no final monetary prize. However, bragging rights as the American Barbecue Champion are, which I am sure would get you consideration as pitmaster at a great number of barbecue establishments across the country. The hosts, Lyric Lewis and Rutledge Wood, who also host Flora's Lava on Netflix as well, have a nice blend of personality and humor as well to balance out with the judges, restaurateur and barbecue connoisseur Kevin Blisdow, and the heavy hitter, 7-time former World American Barbecue Champion Melissa Cookston. And she is tough.
I need to have perfect execution because I know what I've seen and I know what I'm talking about. Suck it up, Buttercup.
No word yet on season 2, but I really hope we get one. And like I said, this really did contend for that top spot, but ultimately it just fell a little bit short. And that means our top spot is going to go to Cook at All Costs. This one is sort of a hybrid blend of Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen, where ingredients are chosen by that episode's guest judge, which is always a very renowned chef. Or at least I suppose they're all renowned. The contestants all act like they are, but I suppose that could just be for the cameras. Anyway, these ingredients are used to assemble 3 boxes: a save box full of everyday low-cost kitchen items, a spend box full of high-end quality ingredients for high-end quality dishes, and a surprise box, which usually has an assortment of very bizarre and not well-known ingredients to use. The contestants have a bank of 25 grand that they use to not only bid on these boxes, but as well as various upgrades that come down the line at points during the challenges. The cool catch is that only the ingredients in the boxes and the auctions can be used to create the dish for presentation, and so this forces the contestants to get incredibly creative in using what they have at their disposal. And I really enjoy that piece of it, as I love seeing what they come up with and also trying to come up with what I would do myself. It's interesting learning how to use the ingredients that always end up in the surprise box as well, and there's a nice mix of chefs brought in to judge, matching each episode's theme, and the pearls of wisdom dropped are wonderful. The host Jordan is incredibly fun to watch too, as he has excitement, but it's charming and not too much. And without giving too much away, there is a scene in this where his services as a sous chef for 3 minutes go up for auction, and this guy goes into full Terminator mode, showing off his own skills as a chef, and it's just really great to watch. Be prepared to hear the word umami more than you ever have in your entire life though. For me though, this show just does a nice job at blending all of the best things I like about a food show into one cohesive dish, and that is why for now it is sitting at number 1. But that's my list. What did you think?
How's it taste, motherfucker?
What are your favorites? If I missed one, let me know how much I suck down there in the comments, and make sure you check out the socials to stay up to date on what we are doing. Like I mentioned before, I have some more good game show related videos coming soon, and the next real story is due out in February, so come back for that if you feel so inclined. But that's all for now. As always, thank you for watching, and we shall see you next time. This show is centered around Swish slash... Ooh, man, that's gonna be hard to say. This show is centered around Swiss slash... Wow.